Hey everybody, welcome back to a little bit more somber episode of the Gentleman's Bureau today. We're recording this on September 11th, the 20th anniversary of the terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and the third target. We're not sure. All these years later, we're still not sure where that third plane was headed, but it did go down just outside of Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Um, we're going to go through a few 9/11 facts, and then we'll have a brief moment of silence, and then we'll get back to the podcast general content. So, um, quick facts for 9/11. The attack was orchestrated by 19 men that were members of Al Qaeda under the direction of Osama bin Laden. They stole four fueled up planes from the East Coast that were on westbound journeys, mostly Los Angeles. Two of them hit the World Trade Center located in New York City, New York. One of them hit the Pentagon, and as I just mentioned, one of them landed outside of Shanksville, Pennsylvania, instead of its intended target, of which we do not know. They believe that that plane went down where it did because the crew and passengers attempted to retake control of the flight deck, and the hijackers, not wanting their plan to fail totally, decided to just nose the plane into the ground instead of possibly being subject to criminal actions by the authorities if they ended up being detained. As a result of the attacks, 2,977 individuals lost their lives, including the passengers and crew of all four planes. At the World Trade Center was where most of the casualties were, accounting for 2,753, 343 of which were firefighters responding to the crashes, 23 were police officers, and 37 were Port Authority officials. At the Pentagon, including the crew and passengers of the plane, 184 passed away. And outside Shanksville, Pennsylvania, only the crew and passengers died as a result of that crash, and that accounted for 40 souls. Interesting demographics of those that lost their lives that day. The ages ranged anywhere from 2 years old to 85. 40% of them at the World Trade Center are still unidentified. 40% of the victims of 9/11 at the World Trade Centers are still unidentified. That was one that really shook me. Like, that's over 1,000. That's like 1,600 people that we just don't know. No, I think it's like 1,200. It's like 1,200 people that we just don't know that they died there. Like, I don't know. I feel like their families would have reported something at this point. And I mean, every few years, the New York City coroner's office releases, a new victim that was, their identity's been confirmed. They're still working on it. They're still trying, which was something that kind of inspired me. I was like, wow, they're not giving up on them. They're still trying to find out who these people were so that they can get word to their families, so that they know. I mean, it's not a great thing to know. Oh, you don't want somebody knocking on your door and be like, yeah, so I'd be the one to tell you this, but your son, daughter, fiance, husband, mom, dad, whatever, was a victim of 9/11. But I mean, it's better than just not knowing what happened to him, right? Also, 75 to 80% of those that lost their lives on that fateful day 20 years ago were men. That was interesting to me also. Now, let's talk about the monetary impact. So they estimate that in order to plan and execute these attacks, it cost Al Qaeda $500,000. And for $500,000, they caused $60 billion worth of damage at the World Trade Center to those buildings in the surrounding area. The site cleanup did not end until May 30th, 2002, just a few short months short of a year. In that time, workers committed 3.1 million hours to cleaning it up. That's a lot. That's a lot. But I mean, when you're moving 1.8 million tons of debris, it takes a while. And it cost $750 million just to clean it up.
Jesus.
And what's really interesting is that number 2977, which is the same one that I heard, years and years ago. It's not actually entirely accurate anymore, because in the years since, there have been a few deaths that the New York City Medical Coroner's Office or whatever has attributed to the 9/11 dust cloud. That because that's what people don't think about. Like, there were people on the street that died just from the inhalation of that dust. It was so toxic and it covered so much of the city that there are still people that are dying today that they're like, this person's death is directly linked to the 9/11 attacks. And I, for one, haven't been watching the news today, but I also haven't heard of anything going on, on this scale today, which, I was really worried was going to happen. I was really worried that something was going to happen today. And to my knowledge, nothing has. Have you heard anything, Mark?
No, I'm in the future.
That's right. That's right. You
And
should have warned us. You should have warned
everything's
us,
fine.
man.
I wasn't in the future back then.
That's true. That's true. Real quick, I want to go through the timeline just to kind of illustrate how fast it happened. Say what you will about this terrorist attack. It was very well coordinated. At 8:46 a.m. Eastern Time, American Airlines Flight 11, traveling from Boston to Los Angeles, struck the North Tower of the World Trade Center. At 9:03 a.m. Eastern Time, American Airlines Flight 175, also traveling from Boston to Los Angeles, struck the South Tower of the World Trade Center. 9:37 a.m. Eastern Time, American Airlines Flight 77, traveling from Dulles, Virginia to Los Angeles, struck the Pentagon building in Washington. At 9:59 Eastern Time, the South Tower of the World Trade Center collapses in approximately 10 seconds. So, it got hit 56 minutes before, but the actual act of it going down took 10 seconds.
That's so fast.
Which is crazy, yeah. And then at 10:03 a.m. Eastern Time, United Airlines Flight 93, traveling from Newark, New Jersey to San Francisco, crashes in a field near Shanksville, Pennsylvania. And at 10:28 a.m. Eastern Time, the North Tower of the World Trade Center collapses. The time between the first attack and the collapse of both World Trade Centers is approximately 102 minutes. And which is just crazy. So just think about, like, the next time you're sitting somewhere doing something for like an hour and 43 minutes. Just think that that's all the time it took for a plane to hit a building and that building to be on the ground and 3,000 people, almost 2,000 people to be dead.
That's sobering.
The next time you're waiting at the DMV for 5 minutes, I didn't say echo, shut up. I don't know what triggers it all the time, but like, it's the weirdest things that trigger it. Anyway,
Getting
next
choked
time
up, Jed.
you're sitting at the DMV for 5 minutes and it feels like forever. Imagine being in that kind of mindset for 2 hours. I'm sure it was the longest 2 hours of a lot of people's lives. And it was the last 2 hours of a lot of people's lives too. And the next time that you hear something about the Middle East and us being there doing stuff, think about what they did. They took our planes and they crashed them into our buildings and killed our people. They lost 19 men. We lost almost 3,000. And that wasn't military. That was civilians. Volunteer firefighters, police officers, Port Authority officials, people that just wanted to go to work. They didn't know that was going to happen that day. They were probably just like, hey, another day at work. And then they heard the engines roaring from outside the windows. And they all went to look because, hey, what else would you do? And I don't know what that would be like to see a 747 coming toward me when I'm in a building 70 some stories above the ground. But I'm sure it was terrifying. I'm sure there was a lot of scared people, and I'm sure people that weren't even in the towers or even near the towers were terrified.
There
You
was,
know,
yeah, I mean, that shook the whole world. I mean, country. There's
I
people,
mean, yeah,
in not even in the state of New York, watching that on the news, fucking freaking out, scared, scared that their major city is going to be hit, scared that you know what is going on in our country. What is this? This is chaos. We don't have that. We have order here.
yeah,
It's crazy.
it's crazy. I mean, as a direct result of 9/11, the Department of Homeland Security was founded. It compressed like, let me scroll down really quick. Yeah, 22. There was 22 governmental agencies that got merged into the Department of Homeland Security. And then the government signed in a $40 billion emergency anti-terrorism package. So, next time you're going through the airport and you're like, man, it takes so long to get through security. Why do I got to take my shoes off? Why do I got to stand with like this with my arms up in some big machine? Well, it's because we don't want this to happen again.
Mm-hmm.
The next time they
Because
tell you to throw out your shampoo bottle because it's too big, think about 9/11 and realize that it's not that important, not compared to human life.
there you go.
Anyway, I'm tired of being sad, so let's just have a moment of silence to remember the fallen and pray that this doesn't ever happen again to anyone. I mean, sure, I don't want it to happen to America, but I honestly don't want it to happen anywhere. I mean, it's just, I mean, it's one of those things that it's never gone. It's always there. You know. Anyway, moment of silence.
Jed, let's not leave this just yet
No,
because
you got more
yeah,
to say?
yeah. Well, like I was saying, like this affected everybody, even whenever you weren't there. So everybody, think about you guys at home. Think about like where you were whenever this happened. Think about how it affected you personally whenever whenever these towers were hit. You know, and then think about like what's going on in your life. Think about what would happen if something like this happened again, and think about what you would do, how you could help your fellow countrymen, like so many else have went out and done. I'm gonna tell you a little story about what happened whenever I was knee high to a grasshopper, a young man, and this happened. So I remember it because it was September. All the teachers were on strike, and we weren't in school. And I'm running around the house. I think it was like second grade age, something like that. And start watching the TV. Well, my grandma was watching us like she always did, older, and everybody else was working in the house. So she was watching us, and I remember getting a phone. She got a phone call. She answered the phone and was like, turn on the news right now, like freaking out about it. And they start shutting down all the factories around the area in town, sending everybody home because everybody's freaking out and nobody knows what's going on. And so my grandma turns on the news and she's like shocked. She's watching the news, watching the footage of the planes, and they're just playing it over and over and over again. And like I think every time they played it, like just more people going into hysteria, freaking out even more. There is a major rush out of all these factories in the local area, out of all these businesses, of everybody just running out. They're gone. They're speeding away. I think every other place around there is like shutting down because they're not. Nobody's staying to work. Like everybody's going home, except the gas stations. They increased the price of gas by like $15 a gallon, and then everybody was buying out all the gas for some reason. Maybe maybe there's a reason behind it. I don't know. Maybe that's one of the first things everybody freaks out about. Can't get gas. I don't know. I just remember that, and I remember uh, my brother was like in his mid-20s at the time, and immediately, like my mom's like, "We're going to war with somebody. Like somebody's going to be responsible for this." And she's like, "Oh my God, you can't get drafted. Oh, we're gonna have to draft everybody. Oh no!" Like just freaking out like crazy. And I just remember that was like one of the first times where like every adult in my life was terrified. Like there was nobody that was like, I'm looking around, I'm like, Mama, Papa, what's going on? Everybody is freaked out. Everybody's scared, and there's no control over the situation, really. Like, it's so scary. And as a young kid, I still remember how emotional and how like scared everybody was. Even like for days after that, we didn't know a lot, and we were still terrified.
Yeah.
What
And
about you,
it's
Jed? You know anything
I don't
about?
rem-
Because you
I
were
don't
so
remember.
young.
Yeah,
You're
I don't remember
barely
anything
out of
about when it
barely
actually
out of
happened.
being a sperm.
Um, I remember that like growing up, I knew it happened, and then when they started coming out with documentaries about like rebuilding the memorial and like the New World Trade Center, and I always watched like every year on the anniversary I would watch something about it. There'd always be something on TV about um, you know 9/11 and what happened and all this kind of stuff. And I always paid attention to it because I knew it was important. And then when I got older, I just got interested in. I mean, as terrible as it was, it really brought the country together.
Yes.
We there was every shade in that building. It's the World Trade Center. It had everybody in it. And this wasn't attack. This wasn't an attack on Caucasians. It wasn't an attack on Hispanics or blacks, Middle Easterns. It was an attack on America because of
That
the way
building
we
was a
choose
melting
to
pot.
live our life.
Mm-hmm.
Free time. Um, Man, I don't know, dude. I don't remember gas prices going up, but then again, I was too little to care.
I just remember that's what everybody talks about.
hmm I do remember hearing that there was a lot of new military recruits. Like a lot of people joined up because of 9/11, and
Yeah.
even people like our age eventually joined up because of 9/11. All those years later, I don't think it's like 1776, July 4th. It'll always be a thing.
Yeah.
It's just terrible. I mean, it's innocence. Innocence. I mean, it was New York, so I mean, how innocent could they be? But like, they weren't a military. They weren't military. It wasn't a military target at all.
Exactly.
And I mean, there's tons of conspiracies about 9/11. I don't think Bush did 9/11. I think that maybe his actions as president led 9/11 to happen, possibly, but that's all conjecture and assumptions on how terrorists think. But I will say this to all those conspiracy theorists like myself out there, but the ones that say that jet fuel can't melt steel beams, it doesn't need to. It really doesn't. Because jet fuel can burn hot enough to easily bend steel beams. And like we said just a moment ago, the debris at the World Trade Center was 1.8 million tons of debris. With that kind of weight involved, it doesn't take too much heat to compromise the structural integrity of that building.
Yeah.
So, do I think anything was fishy about the World Trade Center's collapsing? No, not really. Is Bush responsible? Maybe. I mean, he was the president at the time. The terrorists could have been doing it because of something he did. I don't know. But I do know that Osama bin Laden, as the then head of the Al Qaeda terrorist group, did claim responsibility for it. I haven't watched the video in a long time, but I'm pretty sure he just doesn't like how Americans live. Pretty sure he called us infidels a few times. But like I said, it's been a while since I've watched his video claiming, responsibility.
Yep.
I do know that I definitely don't want this to ever happen again.
Well, yeah, I don't know why anybody would, but
Well, some people just want to watch the world burn.
True.
Batman.
Or maybe some people would want a 9/11 or a Pearl Harbor to happen so that they could push their wars, military, industrial complex.
That's another thing, and I think that's why a lot of people started saying that Bush did 9/11 because of his family interests. They did make quite a bit of money off of the Iraq War, just like a lot of other people in the government.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't really want to turn this like memorial episode into like, fuck the government and all this kind of shit, but like, if you really want to see how bad the government is, start looking up what companies your congressmen or senators are associated with, what they do, because I think you'll find that a lot of the stuff that they vote for is really just for them and their friends.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
So, Jed,
Smart.
being this time of year, being 9/11 going on, the remembrance. I don't know why I couldn't get that out, but yeah, everybody's sitting around barbecuing. I mean, that's what I have seen before. Is that still what's going on? Because of all the restrictions, everybody's still getting together, remembering, hey, this is America kind of situation. Like, we just pulled out of Afghanistan. We brought so many soldiers home. We left so many service dogs and other American citizens, apparently. And we're here though, and we gotta pull together again. There doesn't need to be this big disaster out there, and we can come together. We can be one. We can talk and discuss like what it takes for us to come together too.
Yes, indeed.
Is that going on? I'm just wondering.
What the grilling out and stuff?
Yeah,
it was a very long-winded question, Mark.
Yeah, I got preachy.
Hard to say, You know, I noticed that there was quite a few people out at the silo when I went out. Um, yeah, I mean, I didn't notice anything overtly 9/11 related while I was out there. I do think that a lot of people are kind of slowly forgetting about it, um, which is strange because everybody said that they'd never forget.
If you're in
Yeah,
like
man.
New York at all, you'll never forget. Like Staten
Oh
Island, I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah. New York will never forget. Um,
Pete Davidson will never let anybody forget.
I saw a commercial with him the other day, and he was getting some tattoos removed. He was
Ah,
like, "I've made some questionable decisions in my life," and he's like, "But getting this whatever service, or it was probably insurance or something, wasn't one of them." No, he's funny, dude. He's a funny guy. He's had a hard life.
he'll tell you he's
His
funny.
his dad was a firefighter that died there. Yeah, Pete Davidson's dad was one of the 343 firefighters that passed away, man. And you know, most cops can get fucked. Firefighters,
They're pretty
fuck
good
yeah.
people.
They're always good people, and they're usually fucking volunteers. Maybe
Long
not in
time
like
ago,
big cities, but
somebody told me like cops break families apart, firefighters save families. I was like, that checks out.
that's strange. So, on a lighter note, what have you been up to since we talked last, Mark?
Um, well, let's see. I went to work this whole week, and it wasn't too bad. It's starting to cool off a little bit here, so it's like in the mid to high 80s most every day. And oh, I had to go take a physical for work.
Huh?
That was fun. So every year, Japanese companies make you take a physical to see if you're healthy enough, I guess, to work or insurance or I don't know
Yeah.
entirely. But so I went and I had to take this physical, and they keep a record. So this is my fourth one I've had to do since I've been with the company or whatever. And let's see, what is awesome about my physical? I lost 10 pounds since last year, but I feel like, well, it's actually like 12 pounds, but kilos, I guess, whatever.
Which one is it? That's a big difference. 10 pounds and 10 kilos is
No,
very
no,
different.
no, no, not like that. I mean, converting it from kilos into pounds, it's more like I lost 12 pounds. But either way, I just rounded. I should round it up. What am I thinking? Like, I lost 20 pounds. I'm a god. But
It's very good, Mark.
I
I'm
was
glad
I
that
was
you've
happy
lost
about
weight.
that. Yeah, I was happy about that. Um, if anybody doesn't know, like I have my nips pierced, and every time I just forget
He
to take them
does.
out, take out my piercings, and the fucking um, they do an X-ray, like a chest X-ray, and they're like, "Yo, man, you gotta take them out. You're gonna die of radiation, or like something's gonna like it's just
They'll
really
get
bad reaction with
yeah,
the
they'll get ripped
camera.
out.
It's bad. So I do the X-ray, and I actually took them out this year, and he's like, "What is this? There's some holes here. What? Are you okay?" Like he's like, "There's something wrong." Like on the camera, we don't know what this is. I was like, "Oh, piercing holes. Sorry. Do I need to tell you that?" He's like, "Oh, what? You have piercing? What the fuck?" Just
Hey
not a really
man,
common
I'm
thing.
American.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a really common thing. So he was just like really confused at first. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? But also my lungs look pretty healthy, so that's good too.
Very good. Very good.
I didn't have any problems except my hearing improved, and my eyesight went down, which is ridiculous, I think. Like,
Yeah, usually it's both down.
yeah. Well, I even improved my eyesight in one of my eyes, but like the other eye went down. That's why I was like, what the?
Mhm.
This is so
Eat
strange.
more carrots.
The lady took my blood. The nurse took my butt. The nurse took
She
my
took
blood.
your butt?
She took my butt.
Did she give
Oh
it
my god.
back?
Did she?
What are you sitting on right now?
Well, I went and got some hams from a local market. And I just
There you go.
stuffed them in there.
Facsimile. Good stand-in.
Yep. I mean, I was unfortunate to be genetically given a black girl's butt as a white man. So
Happens.
I'm bootylicious, as they say.
Yeah. So she took your blood.
She took my blood, and I don't have a problem with needles. I just have a problem with people that use needles poorly. And she jabbed me so fucking hard, dude. Like the bruise just went away yesterday. My arm was bruised up, and I was leaking. I was leaking blood after she was done, and it was just bad. Like she's like, hold this cotton thing here, and I was like, okay, I'm holding it there, and it's like, oh, this ain't stopping. Oh my god, this bruise is getting really bad. Oh my god, I'm gonna die. Oh, I felt so. Oh my god, it was so terrible. But I wasn't even the worst person because there was a guy that's like right after me. I How do I describe this office is really strange. So they have it set up in stations like you would, I don't know, pre-K, like a gym class where like do an activity at this station and then move to the next one. Whoo, you
Yeah.
know? Well, that's basically what we were doing with this physical, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, I got stuck by this lady, and oh my god, that was awful. But this other guy has to do the activity while I'm moving on, and this guy, one, terrified of needles. Two, she was rougher on him than me because he was just fat and hard to find his veins. Yeah, that's an unfortunate thing. Everybody, whenever you put on weight, it's hard to find your veins. Um, so get really jacked and don't eat a lot and get really vascular. Make your whole arm look like a road map. Nurses will love you. So this guy gets jabbed and he starts crying, like
Yeah.
in front of everybody. I was like, oh God. First, like, he said, like, oh, I can't do needles. Like, I'm terrified of needles. So I was like, oh, this is going to be like, he's just going to have to look away and, like, No, he gets the lady that's the stabber. And he, oh my God, it looks so, ooh.
All right. Just hold still.
Yeah. Well, she stabs him. He
I
jumps.
see somebody holding a needle like this. I'm out of there. I'm gone.
He jumped, and she's like, "Oh, stay!" Like she grabbed his hand, and she's like, "Stay down," basically. She said, and it was so because he visibly like he cries like ah, and then like this is a grown man.
Yeah.
What in the world? And because he jumped, he made it so much worse though. So he like immediately he's got a little bit of blood coming out, and he's bruising up too. I can see it. And he's got like his arm. He's holding his arm. He's like, "Oh, that hurts so bad. Oh my God, why does it hurt so bad? I hate needles." Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah. I used to sell my plasma a lot because I was a broke college student. And hey, I got really good blood. Like I may be positive, which makes my plasma like just pretty good, I guess. But
Nice.
other than that, like my hemoglobin's good, my iron's really always really good. So like, it's some people they go in to sell their plasma and they get turned away like 3 times in a row because they don't have the right levels of shit. I
Mhm.
never got turned away. My levels were always good or better.
Nice.
But and I don't have a fear of needles, but man, I have been on the receiving end of some people that do not know what the fuck they're doing. It's always good because like once you like get past your like little fear of needles, and you like try to like you like look at it and try to like focus on what's going on in your arm with the needle, you can kind of feel how they're fucking it up.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, this one time it took her like 10 minutes to find the vein. And now I'm a bit chunky myself. I got some extra pudge, but my arms are really lean. Okay,
Ooh,
like I got a muscle there, right? So like you can always
Midwest
you know,
bod.
after a few pumps, you can always find the vein. Most
Mhm.
people never have a problem finding my veins. Like I can even see one right there. But
There you
anyway,
go.
this chick, she was digging for it. Okay, she's
Ooh.
she's in there and she's like,
Digger.
where is it? Where is it? And I'm like, pull it back the fuck out. You're too far in. I can feel you bopping it to the
It's
side
in
every
the
time. Just
bone.
out,
It's in the
back
bone.
in. I think somebody else actually had to come over and put it in for her.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. But hey,
Those places usually hire, I want to be nice. They hire like
online
newer people.
course. Yeah,
Yeah.
online course phlebotomies. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I eventually stopped going there because it was not worth it.
I gave plasma one time because somebody else was giving plasma, and I don't know why. They were just like, I was in Champaign,
Mhm.
and a buddy of mine was like, "Hey, I can make like $70, something like that." It's like, "Okay, that's cool." He's like, "Will you come with me? I don't want to sit there by myself all day." I was like, "Yeah, I got nothing to do."
Yeah.
So I go with him, and we're both gonna give plasma. I gotta tell you what, I was. The nurses were all very rude people, and the people that were in there, I was like, "That's a homeless man. That's a crackhead.
Yeah.
That's a that's a homeless crackhead." I was I was like, "Oh God." I was like, "Dude, do we really have to do this? I will give you some money if you're really that." He's like,
Right.
"Oh
Right.
no, dude, it's fine. It's cool. Like, let's just do this." Blah blah blah. And it's like, "Oh my God." Um. So yeah, like you were saying, they do hire, like, you understand, just like I do. They hire some. I don't know if they're just fresh out of school or
Rookies.
yeah, or they're just bad people. But so I
They're just bad people.
they're just
They're
bad
like,
people.
yes, I'm going to get very good at phlebotomy so I can fuck it up a lot on purpose. Okay. Okay, Darth fucking Bane, whatever.
Darth Vader.
Um,
Exactly.
I wanted to mention too, you said he made it worse for himself, that tub guy that was scared of needles. I remember way back in the day, in the Dizzy, when H1N1 was the big virus. Remember that? The good old swine flu?
I think like one person I know died of that.
Yeah, but we all had to get it. Like they had people come to the school, and we would just take time out of our day in large groups to just go line up and get the H1N1 shot.
I never did that.
And well, it was something they did at junior high. BB. I don't. You were probably in high school at that point.
Yeah, but I mean, I remember it
Um,
being a thing, and I was just like,
yeah.
by the time they had shots for everybody, it was just not a thing anymore.
Right. Yeah. And like, I mean, I was too young to really question like what they were putting in my body. I believed that the
Oh
news
yeah,
would
I would have
tell me the truth.
exactly.
I got the H1N1 shot, no big deal. But I remember Seth Cameron, who we've had on the podcast before, good old Birdman himself. He had the bright idea that right when they went to jab him, he was gonna flex. His entire arm was bruised.
Oh God.
All of it, dude. It was bad. He's like, that hurts so much more. And I'm like, yeah, man. I'm pretty sure I could talk to anybody who knows anything about muscles and they could explain to you why that happened. But I mean, sure.
That was
It's a great idea you had there, Seth.
that was dumb as shit. I love it. Uh,
I don't know. It was funny. It was so funny at the time. We're all over here like the next day, like, yeah, man, it was kind of sore the rest of that day, but I'm pretty good now. So it's like, I need a sling. Oh God, it hurts so much. And I'm like, I had to flex on him, huh?
I had to flex.
Had to flex on him, huh?
Flex on the boy. Ah, couldn't get a Porsche. He was broke.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, man, that was wild.
Oh my
Yeah,
god,
I
that's
don't, I
funny.
don't have a problem with needles. I used to back in the day, back in the Dizzy. Then I got tattoos, and that went away.
Yeah, I get you.
Now I'm more afraid of what's in the needle.
Ooh, I'm I'm afraid of sanitary practices all the time, dude. For anything now.
Dude, I get
Go
fucking
like,
I get freaked out when I see a soap dispenser. I'm like, what the fuck?
is that thing washed properly? Like,
Right? I saw a bottle of hand sanitizer, and I was like,
they just keep that out here for everybody. Yeah.
right? Oh, so get this, right? So you can't buy certain glues and paint unless you're like 18 or whatever, because of
The good glues and paint.
yeah, because it's usually like flammable and shit.
Oh, or
But
huffable.
you can buy hand sanitizer when you're 4 years old, for instance. That shit's like 95% alcohol. Light
Would
that
that?
shit on fire all day long.
Oh
Easy.
Lord, that's crazy.
That's
Would
so
that? I don't know. That's so. Why would they do that? I don't know. Gotta kill
I
all
mean,
them germs, dude.
most of like the Purell hand sanitizer that's more like jelly
Uh huh.
isn't that high of alcohol concentration. When you get that really stuff that smells really like 95% alcohol, it'll burn like in seconds. Not even. Put a lighter to it, boom, like fucking ethanol,
Crazy.
like Everclear, you know.
Oh, a lot of those liquor companies, those alcohol companies, were making hand sanitizer, so I imagine there was just
Yep,
pretty much the same thing.
yep, pretty much. It's
Nice.
just alcohol. I mean, heck, have you ever seen like a movie where they got a cut or something and it's really bad and they don't have any like medical supplies, so they take a swig of the whiskey, give them the whiskey, take the whiskey back, and then pour it on.
And then they start
It
rooting
works.
around the hole
Yeah.
with a crude tool. Gotta get that bullet out. You're like, oh my god, no.
It's like, oh, let me just break off this random stick I found, and oh heck, I left half the stick in there. Gotta get that out now too. Shit, fuck. Anybody got
More
a pair of
whiskey.
tweezers?
More whiskey.
We need more whiskey over here, please. Yeah, dude.
Oh
I got
lord.
I got some really good whiskey, actually, not too far from me. It's in my liquor bottle. It's not a liquor bottle. It's one of those 5 gallon
Decanter?
um drink
Wait, what do you got?
dispenser. Yeah,
Drink
so
dispenser.
those like orange ones you get from like McDonald's for the day for like a sports team. Those big 5 gallon drink
Oh yeah,
dispensers.
yeah, yeah.
So I had when I was moving down, I just put all my liquor in that with a bunch of plastic bags around it so that it would be kind of safe. And like I mentioned to you before we started recording, I still have a lot of stuff to unpack, so it's still sitting in there.
Yeah. Why do you have
But
so
it's
much
good.
booze?
I don't have that much booze.
Why you a little alky, bro?
Because man, I like to party sometimes
I like to party too.
responsibly.
I
But yeah,
get
I
you.
mean, I've got a really big bottle of vodka because it was $13 for like 2 liters.
Ooh, what kind of vodka?
It's a Members Mark, Sam's Club variety.
Oh, okay.
But
I was like,
but
I've
what
never
I
heard of that.
hear, what I hear is that it's the same as Sky vodka, but it's like so like when they're making Sky vodka, they'll fill up all the Sky bottles with the vodka, and then whatever they have left over, they just put in the Members Mark bottles. Is what I hear. Not sure if that's true or not, but that's what I hear. Anyway, it's vodka. Tastes like vodka. It's better than some vodkas, worse than others, I guess. It's really cheap for how much you get, so I mean, whatever. It's mostly full because I don't drink that much. We've also got that whiskey I mentioned. It's the Sexton brand. It's actually a really cool bottle. I'm gonna grab it just because it looks cool.
All right, that sounds good. All right, everybody. Jed's gone. I've taken over the podcast. We no longer have Lane either. It's just me. Me and all my crazy theories. Nobody else. Oh, hey,
I
Jed.
never left. I was here the whole time.
Oh, no. You heard what I said.
This is the whiskey I was just telling you about.
I think I've seen that bottle because it's unique. Kind of sticks out.
So good.
What does it smell like? What does it taste like?
Does it
Give me
smell
some
like-
descriptions.
What does whiskey smell like? It smells like fucking whiskey, okay? It
Really?
smells like the sweat of an Irishman, okay? That's what it smells like.
Like an old barn or a leather shoe,
Yeah. Like if you were to tear
cigar
down
ashtray.
an old barn and then like a bunch of old leather shoes and cigars, and you just put that in a big pot and made a very sweaty Irishman, stir it up and boil it in his sweat. That's what it smells like.
You know what? That's somewhat appetizing.
Pork? Pork?
Ooh, just
I don't know.
satisfying to pull that up.
I saw it and I was just like, this looks good. And I was right. It's actually a really good whiskey.
Nice.
I also got this, which I picked up in Germany. And I picked it up because I thought it was alcohol, which I mean it is. But I only then found out that it's like cooking alcohol.
Oh.
I'm opened. I haven't tried it yet. I just, like a little pint.
It's cooking alcohol. You can't
Look,
cook
look
with
now.
it, man.
Yeah,
Don't-
if you look now, you see it's got like this little like pop tab. So yeah, it's definitely for like cooking, but I didn't know it at the time, so I just have it now. I don't know what I'm gonna do with
Dude,
it.
you can make some bomb ass Black Forest cake or something, right?
Yeah, I could actually. And what it says here is original Inlander rum, and then on the side it says the spirit of Austria.
What? Oh, Austria.
I also got some. I also got some vodka while I was in Germany. And it was in Russian, so I couldn't really read it. But yeah, basically it was just like Russian vodka. It was really good. It was way better than the stuff I got now. But I mean, that's why I drank it because it was good.
The Polish always brag about how their vodka is better than Russian vodka, and I was with some Polish dudes, so they were trying to screw in a light bulb with a hammer, and they were like, "Hey, let's try some Polish vodka." I was like, "Yeah, sure, man." And they were bragging about like, "Oh, this is from Poland. This is from like my grandmother's hometown, like all this shit." They were trying to pour the vodka in a fish and then drink it. I don't know. It was weird. Polish people are kind of dumb, but
Well, now, hey, I'm sure there's some Polish people out there that are pretty smart.
name 5 right off the top of your head.
I
Go.
don't know a lot
Can't
of
do it.
Polish people.
There you go.
I just don't know a lot of Polish people.
Proof.
I couldn't even name 5 people that are Polish.
Yeah. Nobody.
Sorry, Poland. If you're from Poland, say hi in the comments. Let us know if you drink vodka from a fish.
They're like, we'd never drink vodka from a fish, always from a shoe.
Hey, I drink Bailey's out of a shoe one time.
that's
It was a crystal shoe with a cork,
too good.
but it was really funny. I saw it and I was like, because it was like a liquor cabinet, well, more like a credenza, because it was just on top of it with a bunch of liquor everywhere. And then the glass shoe was right in the front, and I was like, I turned to my host and I said, "Is that Bailey's in that shoe?" Because it was brown. They're like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Can I drink Bailey's out of that shoe?" And they're like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Yes."
That's awesome. That'll always live on. That's awesome.
Right. And that's one of those things. Like, if you know, you know. I'm not even gonna say what it's from, but if you know where Bailey's coming out of a shoe comes from, cool. Good on you.
You're in the club. Good
You're
for
in
you.
the club.
Back on the vodka thing. Yeah, I was with some Polish guys and they busted out some really good vodka and they were like, oh, this is like mid-class vodka or something like that. I was like, I don't know, it's pretty damn smooth, dude. It's pretty good. And they were like, yeah, it's because it's from Poland. Fuck Russia. And like, they really hated Russia. It was pretty funny. They hated on Russian vodka. And then they were like, but the they make really good cheap beer, so that's pretty good. And then they were like, you want to have a Russian beer? And I was like, that sounds pretty good, but I just drank a lot of vodka, guys. So I don't know.
Right.
Uh, but if say I'm in America and I'm like, I want some vodka, I'm probably gonna go like Tito's because it's not expensive and it's pretty good for the price. But if I don't care about spending money, like I'll get some like high end Grey Goose or something. I like Grey Goose; it's pretty good. But if I'm
Yeah.
making like White Russians or something like that, Grey Goose.
I'm not a big liquor guy. I mean, well, yes and no. Uh,
I'm
when
way
I
more
do
into beer than liquor.
when I drink to get drunk, I go for liquor because it's gonna get me there faster. Because I can drink beer all day and not be drunk. Unless I'm like pounding them fast, I'm not gonna get drunk drinking beer all day. But a
I
couple
get
vodka cranberries, I'm there. 2 or 3 vodka cranberries, I'm feeling pretty good. Especially because there's probably gonna be a couple Rumpelman shots, maybe a couple Malort shots, probably a shot of Jameson at some point. And
that's
if I'm
dope.
drinking with the O'Donohues, I'll probably put down a few Jaeger bombs. Um,
Jesus Christ.
yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I've actually drank to get drunk, but had some good times. Had some good times. I have. Um,
I catch
speaking
a
of good
buzz
times,
every once in a while, but I'm
yeah,
never doing that either, though. So I'm never
yeah, like
like drinking to get drunk.
yeah, it's not fun for me. You wake up in the morning, you're like, what the fuck happened last night?
I
Why
do
am I?
like all
I'm,
day drinking sometimes. Like
oh, dude, that's the best.
start at 10
Like,
and do like IPA drinking all day. All day
yeah,
IPA is actually a pretty good one.
yeah. That's one thing that I really liked about college was homecoming. It was like, hey, here's the day where we're gonna have the alumni come back, and we're gonna play a football game, but nobody's gonna really care about it except the people that are playing in the football game. And it's really just an excuse to drink on campus and then drink the rest of the day too. And yeah, sure as shit, we'd go to campus like 9 o'clock in the morning. They'd start the football game. We'd start drinking there at the beer tent when the game was over. We'd head to somebody's house to keep drinking, play lawn games, like cornhole and beer pong and beersby, and then that party would end probably around noon. We'd go get some lunch, have beers at lunch, and then we'd leave that party and go start our own party because hey, we were in a fraternity. We had to start our own party too. You can't just be in a fraternity and not have a party on homecoming. And
Exactly.
we'd start our party around 2 p.m. and we'd go until 2 a.m. or later if we didn't get
Nice.
busted. I mean, it was the best, dude. It was just the best. There was one year where we didn't even start the party until like 6 p.m. We were going to be like the late night party instead of the all day party because one of
Uh,
the houses that had a much bigger yard so that people could be like outside more. They were going to be pretty much all day and then stop at like nighttime. So we're like, all right, we'll let them do their thing, and then we'll start when they end and just take their people. Boom, done, easy. But yeah, good times. And those were days where like you'd be buzzed all day, but you didn't get drunk until like 9 p.m.
yes.
That's when the party really started. Once things
Ride a
move
cool buzz all
indoors
day.
in the basement, that's when things start getting serious.
Yep.
Yeah.
Keg drinking. That was a
Oh
big
yeah.
thing in college. Like I haven't done that since like right after college. I was doing some keg drinking with some friends, and I was like, this seems like a chore now that there's not a ton of people here.
Right. Yeah. It was always weird. Like we'd get done with a party and we'd go check the keg in the morning, and it'd still be like half full. I'd be like, what the fuck? And then we stopped getting kegs of Bush Light and started getting kegs of Spotted Cow, and then they were always empty before the party was over. Yeah, big difference.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. I was just bummed that so the founder of Anheuser-Busch, or one of the founders of Anheuser-Busch, was a Phi Cap, just like I was. So we actually I wasn't part of the negotiations, but one of our presidents, when I was just getting in, contacted Budweiser and said, "Hey, I represent this fraternity from this school and this chapter. We heard that one of the founders is affiliated with our fraternity, and we were just wondering if maybe we could get like a discount code or something for our like recruitment parties and stuff." And they looked into it, got back and said, we would supply you with a keg for every party if you weren't a dry campus.
Oh.
Because it was a dry campus, they simply couldn't do it for legal reasons. So, fuck all those donation people that said that they were only going to donate a bunch of money if it remained dry campus. You suck. Because you're contributing to drunk driving, excessive drinking, and general inconvenience.
The worst of everything.
And you're wasting a good bar. There was a dope bar on campus in the basement, real like 50s like speakeasy looking type of thing. Beautiful bar, always like empty. We used it for meetings or parties sometimes, but like it wasn't just a bar that was open all the time. But if it was, man, the school would have made so much money off of that. They probably could have lowered tuition with how much money they made off that bar if they opened it up. Because it would have created another job for students on campus, would have created revenue for the school on campus. Massive.
I don't know.
Massive
You gotta think about what you're promoting too.
Yeah, but it also would have promoted safe drinking because they could have drank there and then walked back to their dorm instead of drinking at a bar, getting in a car, and driving back to campus. It's like, yeah, they're gonna drink. They're kids at college. They're gonna drink. Underage, overage, doesn't matter. They're gonna drink. People drink at college. It's college, okay? I would rather it be safe, safely done safe. And also, the closest bar to my college, had a shooting there at least once a year. In fact, they got closed multiple times because of the shootings that happened at that bar. Almost every year. And with that, we're going to have to end the podcast because, as you can see, Mark is a bit frozen, which is kind of a funny way to say that because his laptop overheated. I believe he's working on getting a new laptop soon, and I'm praying for that day to come.